What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite realtor, Josh Anton, with the Greathouse Team and Remax Above and Beyond here in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. Listen, 39% of our transactions last year involved first-time home buyers. That's a pretty wild stat when we really boiled it down. So what are we going to do about it? Well, we made a video here that's going to highlight the top 5 things you need to do if you're going to be a first-time home buyer this year to make sure that bad boy goes as smooth and easy as possible. Let's go. I think this is absolutely the most important piece to the puzzle is build your team. And what do I mean by build your team? Well, listen, LeBron didn't win championship here in Cleveland by himself. He had Kyrie and Kevin and the whole crew helping him bring that trophy to the land. So what do I mean by build your team as it pertains to buying a home? Well, you need good professionals on your side. Now, I'm going to start, of course, with the real estate agent. Now, look, we're a little bit biased because we're realtors and we're pretty dang good at what we do. But what I always tell my first-time home buyers when we're having our consultation call is this. Look, I'm a great agent. I'm going to help guide you along the way. I'd love the opportunity to earn your trust. And the best way I can do that is for you to see what other options are out there. So I highly encourage each of you that are out there that don't have a realtor that you know very well and trust, and you're kind of going in blind to ask around, get a few, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 realtors that you can have a conversation with, a cup of coffee, a beer, a phone conversation, Zoom, however you want to go about navigating that process, and kind of interview them and figure out what makes them tick. There's a lot of things that a good realtor is going to really help you out with throughout the process. A lot of things, frankly, you probably don't think about on the surface. I'm going to touch on that a little bit here. A good realtor, someone that I would really encourage a first-time home buyer to use, is obviously someone with a little bit of experience. I know we all had to get started somewhere, but first-time home buyers, you all have a lot of questions. Look, I was one myself, and I knew nothing. I wasn't in real estate. I knew nothing about that process, and I ended up finding a good realtor that helped me navigate the logistics. And so I think you can talk to them about what's your availability, right? Are you doing this full time? Are you motivated? Are you answering the phone when I need you? What's your experience and knowledge on home construction and how these homes are built? I like to pride myself on really taking it from the lens, kind of like the home inspector, and sort of mitigating potential problems or risks on the front end and educating my clients through the home viewing process on what things might come up in an inspection, or what sort of capital improvements might you be looking at making in the next 1, 5, 10 years. Not necessarily a deal breaker, just education and someone that can help guide you through that, teach you and coach you. And then as you start seeing more and more homes, you start seeing those things yourself, and more eyes, the better. That's certainly a very, very important piece. And look, there's a lot of things that we as realtors do in the home buying process that you don't even really see. A lot of back office stuff where we're communicating with your lender and partnering up, which we're going to get to next. Working with your title company to make sure that they have all the documents and necessary stuff to get that thing closed on time so we don't see any delays. So making sure you're partnered with a realtor that knows the locations, can really pinpoint and target what it is that you're looking for, and help save you money, time, and find you the perfect great house the first time is great. Now listen, the realtor is important, but what we say, like, the realtor hands you the keys at the end. Well, look, really the people who hold the keys to the transaction are the people that do your loan. And so just like I would encourage you to vet or interview or talk to as many realtors as you can to feel comfortable, you certainly should also shop the home lending process. And there's plenty of good ones. I would encourage you to maybe talk to a few different, maybe a local lender, maybe someone from your banking institution or a local banking institution that has a great reputation. There's plenty of options out there. because these programs vary and there's a lot of different intricacies between the different types of loan programs, and you really need to identify and figure out which one works best for you. So asking the right questions. Hey, what are your origination fees? What can I expect in terms of closing costs? What are the rates at right now? Hey, look, they're going to pull your credit score, right? Like, how can you help consult me to make the right decision and help make sure that, this thing goes as smoothly as possible? Because frankly, your mortgage lender can make or break the home buying process. Now, those are the two main ones, and really the ones I think early on you should really focus on and have solidified before you start looking at homes or doing anything else. Now, look, there's other people in the process, home inspectors and appraisers and all these other people that do play a role in the process, but these two are top notch, the biggest priority for you as you start to navigate. All right, you vetted your team. You've got your top draft choices in your back pocket. You're ready to rock and roll. So I'm gonna get a little nerdy on you here, but number 2 on our list is know your numbers. So important, right? So we're gonna start with the most obvious, and that's understanding your budget. Your lender is gonna really be able to help point you in the right direction for what your budget restraints or affordability might be, based upon the location that you choose. There's a lot of intricacies there, but essentially establishing what you can or can't afford and really boiling it down on a monthly basis, I think makes a lot of sense. So as you're going through the home viewing process and looking at these, you might find one that you're really interested in. One thing that we always encourage our buyers to do is run that property by your lender and have them run the purchase price, the taxes, what your estimated insurance on a monthly basis might be. Work with your realtor. We might be able to get averages on what the utilities might cost, and really try to break that thing down on a monthly basis and make sure that that fits your budget. And look, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I don't like to encourage people to go over their budget. I think if you've done your homework and done the right thing and understanding what that budget means, you should stick to it, be diligent there. But budget's obviously a big one. We need to know what you can afford so we can point in the right direction. Now, we talk about knowing the numbers. It's way, way more than just a purchase price and affordability. There are a ton of other numbers that I think a lot of first-time home buyers may neglect or be ignorant to in the process. That's okay. I was in the same position you were when I was 27 years old, fresh off a divorce, and had no clue what closing costs meant. So let's talk about some of the additional extra things that are going to come on top of just obtaining a loan to purchase a home. First and foremost, you probably will have a down payment, unless of course you're paying cash. And if you're paying cash, you probably should just click off this video, maybe, because good on you. You're not going to be getting a loan, and a lot of this won't be relevant to you. But if you are obtaining a loan to purchase your property, you're going to have closing costs. That's a big one. Closing costs are a collective amount of fees. Sometimes on your Alta settlement statement, it can look like a CVS receipt, and it'll be title fees. It will be recording, like all the things that the title company has to do to take that deed from the seller's name and put it in your name and make sure there's no liens on that property or any risks there. They're going to charge you for that. Now, granted, some of those fees can be negotiated in the process, and your realtor can help guide you through there, but they're still relevant and they must be paid at closing, no matter what. They cannot be financed. Your lender's going to have fees, origination fees. They're basically charging you to manage that loan for 30 years. It's important to understand what those closing cost implications will look like estimated as you're going through that process, so you don't get sticker shock towards the end. Your lender's going to be able to give you a very, very firm estimate on what those look like, and we're not going to really give you those numbers now because it does vary. A $100,000 house and a $900,000 house have vastly different closing costs. So make sure you're partnering with your lender to learn and understand what those numbers look like. You're going to pay for your homeowner's insurance on the front end as well. That's a part of your closing costs. I'm going to touch on one thing that is kind of a misconception. You won't pay your buyer's agent a dime. So when you select that realtor, you're not committing to paying them anything. We actually get paid from the seller's agent on the other side of that transaction. As a part of your closing costs, you might get a small broker fee, a couple $100. It does vary brokerage to brokerage, but it's minuscule. So it's really about, establishing trust with that realtor. But we won't charge you anything, which is great. So it's good to know and understand what these numbers look like. Taxes are huge. $200,000 here in Cleveland, like Lakewood, is completely different than $200,000 in Cleveland proper because of the way our tax structure is. No one understands what the tax implications are and how they can impact your payment. Again, lender's going to be a huge resource there. Realtors can help you out as well. So know your numbers. All right, teams built. We've got our heads wrapped around the money part of this thing. Now it's really time to have some fun. And that's where your realtor really gets involved. We're going to start seeing homes, right? But before we start stepping foot in those homes, one thing that's very important that I think you want to do is establish your wish list. And this is something that we all think about, but there are some things as a part of the wish list that can change through the process, some things you didn't even think about, frankly. So what do I mean by wish list? Well, number one, location. Where do you want to live, right? If you're working in the Cleveland area or wherever you're working, understand what your commute might look like. How far are you willing to drive to work? Make that drive a little bit from some of these areas that are on your interest. Just make sure that you don't buy a home that all of a sudden you hate your commute. So location, obviously key. School systems, do your research there. Location number one. Then we start talking about the homes themselves, right? There's a ton of different types. You got split levels and ranches and colonials galore. Do some research there. Figure out which one suits you the best. Talk to your realtor about the pros and cons of what these homes look like, functionality. How's this going to work for you, your family, whatever the case may be. Understand the type of home that you want to get involved in and see yourself in for the short or long term. Obvious ones are bedrooms and bathrooms. You can boil it down to square footage, although I would say that different styles of homes, square footage can go a long way or a short way depending upon the way they're laid out. So I wouldn't get married to square footage, but obviously you're going to have needs. So you should surely be able to establish some semblance of need in terms of size when it comes to your wish list. I'll throw a couple of wild cards in here for you to think about. I think these kind of come in at the end when people start thinking about what they really need. I'll tell people, don't ever buy a house for your pets, but I understand we love our pets. If you need a fenced-in yard, if you do have children and you want to be able to send them outside and have a glass of wine and not have to worry about them running the street, that might be something you want to look at and talk to your realtor about having in your home. Air conditioning, central air conditioning. It is Cleveland, but it still does get hot here. So is that something that you need? Just looking at all of those different pieces to the puzzle and establishing what's important and what's not. The best advice I can give you is sit down. If it's yourself, sit down and write the list. If there's a spouse or a significant other or a partner involved, both of you sit down, go through a list. And generally speaking, if you have a wish list of 10 things, and you get like 7 of those, 70%, I'd call that a win. And you're never really going to get everything that you truly want. It's just very, very difficult to get. But like my old shop teacher told me, C's get degrees, 70%, that's pretty good. And that gives you a little bit of meat on the bone to, kind of make yourself as you grow into the home. So build a wish list, know what you want, and communicate that to your realtor so we can point you in the right direction, find you the best house. All right, the wish list is established and we are viewing homes, the best part of the whole thing besides the end, of course. So what happens here? There's a ton of logistics that you need to be aware of, and I highly encourage you to look at from a process standpoint. So trust this process, do your research, and look at all the intricacies. I'm going to hit them or highlight them, not in so much detail here, but give you kind of a general overview of what to expect from the first time you are shown a home through the end of closing. So you go, you tour the home, you are smitten in love, have to have it. Work with your realtor. I'm going to say this like a million times. Work with your realtor to propose an offer that makes the most sense. There's a lot of nuances there. There's a ton of intricacies that you can do strategically. Your realtor will be able to help you put the best offer in, get that offer submitted in a timely manner, and hopefully it gets accepted. So what happens when it does? All right, now the work begins. So your offer is accepted. What's generally the first thing that happens? Well, you're probably going to submit your loan application to your lender. Your lender is going to take the purchase agreement, your realtor will send it over, they'll start the loan application process. That's really where you and your lender are kind of going to be married up. You know, you've been with your realtor every day seeing houses. Now you and your lender are going to be like this, going through the intricacies of that loan application. Then generally you have a home inspection. So this is a great time. This is like your due diligence period. This is where your home inspector is going to break that house apart and understand its condition. Make sure that you're buying the right one. Okay, this is a great time for you to bring family members that you want to see the home. Bring your tape measure, your paint swatches, whatever you want, because this is essentially, barring something special that you might get in terms of a request, this is like the last time you're going to see this home before your final walkthrough, right before you sign those papers. So take advantage of that 2-hour window and, you know, bring all your friends, whatever else. That's very important. All too often I get people that want to go see the home 5, 6, 7 times after. They're not going to allow you to do that. It's not your home. So make sure you take advantage of that period. So your home inspection's done. You get the A-OK. Beautiful. We're moving on to the next step. Well, the next step is your lender's going to order an appraisal on that home. If you're getting a loan, they need to appraise the home in most every scenario. So what does that mean? Well, generally speaking, they're going to send an appraiser, a professional, third party, to go out and take a look at that home, make sure that the listing matches what they said, and they're essentially going to make sure that the home has value and that they can approve you for that loan. An integral piece to the puzzle. Nothing you really do there. You just pay your lender. They send the appraiser out. We wait for that report. After that appraisal, it's kind of weird, and sometimes like I'll get clients that say, Josh, I haven't heard from you in 5 days. You know, we were talking every day. Very, very common for there to be this lull while the underwriters in your loan process simply do their magic. And so it's not uncommon to not hear from anyone. Of course, reach out if you have questions, concerns, anything like that. But this is kind of a dry period where nothing really happens other than behind the scenes stuff that you don't really need to be a part of unless your lender or realtor or title company needs something. Okay, so we go through the lull. You're clear to close. Those are like the magic 3 words in the real estate process. Clear to close. That means the lender's done. The loan is approved. They are ready to sign. What will happen next? Well, they're going to schedule you to sign your papers. Title company will reach out. They'll generally send a notary to your home, or you go into the office, however they work that out. But they're going to schedule your closing. At the same time, your realtor is going to schedule your final walkthrough of the home. And this is an opportunity to make sure that, you know, the goofball selling the home didn't nick up all the, walls or leave a mess, or just make sure that home is in the condition that you saw it in or as agreed upon per your contract. Generally, walkthroughs go great, but you don't want to skip that part of the process. You don't want any surprises at the end. Walkthrough is great. You sign the papers. What happens next? The best part. That paperwork goes down to the county. They give us approval. This loan is done. This transaction is closed. And you come to me and I jiggle those keys and we go check out your new home, and it's amazing. So trust the process. Take a look at all those steps and do your research on those. There's a lot of information out there that can really help you feel confident through the process of buying that home. All right, a ton of information we just covered there. We've got one more step. This one's a little different because, I've talked about how we can make this smooth and easy and doing your research, doing your homework. And there's not a lot of information on this, but it is so entirely relevant and we deal with it all the time in real estate. And this last piece of advice is very, very, very important. And it's simply this: don't mess it up. How can you mess it up? Well, there's quite a few ways. Let me explain. So when you're going through this process of buying this home, your lender or your underwriter is going through your finances. They're trying to approve you for this loan, right? You've got your credit score, your income. They've got all that in a tight little bundle here. And based upon everything you gave them on the front end, that's what they're using to qualify you for this loan. So what you don't want to do is change that tight little bundle they have already by starting to throw some bombs in there. So let me give you a great example of how you can bomb your real estate transaction. I was working with a young lady. She's amazing. If you're watching, I love you. But she purchased a home. We were in agreement. We show up for the home inspection. And I get there a little early. I'm getting prepared. I'm getting ready. And all of a sudden, this beautiful rose gold Mercedes-Benz pulls into the driveway. Now, that wasn't the Chevy Malibu that she was driving before. And she gets out of the car and say, "Hey, what's going on? Nice whip. Did you rent it or what?" She goes, "No, I just bought it. I just picked it up from the dealer." And I said, "Oh no, we can't do that." Why can't you do that? Well, look, basically, when you open new lines of credit or you rack up debt on your credit cards, you're changing your debt to income ratio. You're changing your credit score. You're changing the game. And the underwriters will find it because they do run final checks at the end to make sure that nothing's changed. And so the best piece of advice I can give you when you start getting serious about buying a home, not even when you're in agreement on a purchase, but when you start getting serious about buying a home, like freeze your credit. No new credit cards. No new lines of credit. Don't be racking up a ton of debt. Don't buy new furniture for the home you simply don't even own yet. Don't change jobs. Don't go to jail. Like be really boring. Say, it's the best advice I can give you. Keep that thing easy because there's nothing worse than you spending money on an appraisal and a home inspection and all your time only for the lender to tell you, "Yeah, we can't approve you for this loan anymore." And there's probably not many out there that can because of what you've done to your credit here. So be boring. The best advice I can give you, if you think it might be wrong or if you're thinking about doing anything financially through that process, communicate. Talk to your realtor, talk to your lender before you do anything so you don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. All right, there you have it. 5 tips for you first-time home buyers out there to make sure that process goes as smooth and easy as possible. All right, folks, so please do us a favor. Leave us some comments down below. If you have questions, any tips of your own that maybe we missed, we'd love to hear from you. Also, please consider subscribing to our channel. It really means a lot to us that you take time out of your day to watch these videos. We love to serve our community and talk real estate with you. And all you first-time home buyers, listen, our information is going to be down here below. Make sure you reach out to us when you're ready to buy your great house.